This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And if you're planning a trip for 2009 and you're trying to make it a little bit easier on yourself this year, want to have someone do all the work for you, make sure that you'll get those discounts as soon as they come out for 2009, then a good travel agent at MEI and Mouse Fan Travel can do all that for you. Give them a try. Visit them online at www.mousefantravel.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Wednesday, December 31st, 2008, and this is episode 507 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. On today's show is the king of all media, well, the unofficial media anyway. It's Len Testa, co-author of the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding.
Excellent.
And also on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse Wolf Radio. Mike, we are young, heartache to heartache.
We said!
Love is a battlefield, bro.
No promises, no demands.
No demands.
Hey, happy belated birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
That's right, yeah.
Thank you very much.
What are you now, 12? 13?
That's something like that.
Cool.
And also joining us today is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for alleears.net. Welcome, Mike.
Fine. I'll just go to the France Pavilion film where they appreciate an invisible narrator.
Oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Canada.
Canada, you silly.
Does anyone else think it's funny that Scopa is referred to as the senior writer?
Is that why you laughed?
I don't
Yeah.
think so.
I mean, I just, you know.
I don't see what's funny about it.
I don't see what's funny either about it. I was just,
Right.
I thought maybe you guys, you know.
I found the humor in it one. It's Wednesday, and that means we're answering listener questions, and we'll start out with a question from Steve Medina of Miami, Florida. Writes,
No, don't answer. Don't listen. I don't want to hear.
Who?
I don't want to hear dolphins. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear any of that.
Matt, Mike,
Chad
Mikey,
Pennington.
and- I'm going to the world January 15, 2009 for a baseball tournament. We've made it a tradition to go drinking around the world at Epcot. At some countries, it's pretty obvious what the beverage of choice should be. Margaritas in Mexico, Bass Ale in the United Kingdom, etc. While others aren't so obvious. I would like to get a country-by-country recommendation as to what you guys suggest as the official beverage of WDW Today. Len is probably the grand poobah of all things drink, but I will consider his opinion as gospel. Anyway, let me know what you think.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, you wouldn't know because you forgot from the brain damage. Yeah, okay. Liar.
Water?
Gosh.
Iced tea?
Let me think.
Let me count the
So,
ways.
Well, the obvious countries, I think, speak for themselves. And what about like a country like Norway?
so in Norway, you can get beer. You can get Carlsberg beer, which it really is, I think, is the only alcoholic beverage you can get, right?
Yeah, to me, it just tastes like, whatever, Bud or something. And there's nothing distinct about it.
Really, I think it wasn't bad at all. I think if you get it cold enough, it's really sort of light and crisp.
Yeah, Len's right. You have to get it cold.
Super cold, yeah. That's the thing.
That's my problem. I'm always asking you for warm beer.
No.
That's not beer.
What about Len, what about Morocco?
Oh, wine. I had wine.
Right. So,
Yeah.
so this is from the back, right? This is from the back of Restaurant Marrakesh, or from the back of the Tangerine Cafe, right?
Right.
Okay, so the wine over there you recommend?
What kind of wine?
Moroccan wine. I don't know. It went down fast, so I don't remember exactly what it tasted like.
So they've got actually a couple of things that are alcoholic there. They've got coffee, a tangerine coffee.
Yep.
And they've got various liqueurs, right? So that's obviously orange liqueur. They've got a Casablanca coffee with vanilla liqueur. I don't like vanilla, though, in coffee. It's they've got Moroccan wine. I don't know the brand, but I'm sure a quick Google will find it for you. They've also got Moroccan beer. What is it? That's Casablanca beer, right?
I never had it. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I think Mike Scope has got the right idea. I think the wine is probably the way to go. I think there's some countries where wine would probably be a good option, like Italy, France, as opposed to getting a beer.
Yeah. Now in China, they have plum wine. Actually, plum wine isn't bad. I actually have a sample of it. I'm not drinking it tonight. I'm drinking tequila again, but
They have that schnapps tea, though. I thought they had.
no, not schnapps.
Oh, come on,
That's
man.
Germany.
Yeah, it's interesting because I usually like Asian beers, like in Japan, Sapporo is a great beer. But yeah, Chinese beer doesn't really do much for me.
Yeah, I don't think it's as big as perhaps like rice wine or anything like that.
Yeah.
But still, it's possible to do that. So they've got the Tsingtao.
Yeah. Tsingtao, that's the beer.
And they've got two versions of that. They've got a Macau beer, and then they've got the plum wine. If you want to go out on a limb, plum wine over ice.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, because then it's I was gonna say not as nasty. But I know that Medina wants that to be the recommendation, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see, Germany. Germany, you can get pretty much anything. Yeah, beer, but they also have peppermint schnapps, which are really nasty.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, in the U.S., it's Sam Adams, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think you got to go that way.
Just watch your friends. That's all.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Newell.
Let's see, Japan, Morocco, France. France, we've tried. Now, Matt, you and I spent a lovely afternoon by the fountains drinking champagne.
Yes, we did.
We did, didn't we? I believe my arm was around you too.
Hey, what happens in France stays in France.
It stays in France, exactly.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Exactly. What was Marissa? I don't know. But so that's not bad actually. Champagne is sort of, or sparkling wine.
I had the French beer. It was nothing to write home about.
I would go for, if I was in France though, Steve, I would go for, and I think in Canada you got to go with beer also. I mean, Molson is a solid choice.
What else does Canada have? Hard drinks?
Beer.
I mean, so hard. They have liquor other than beer.
Syrup.
The syrup.
Exactly.
It's like the syrup.
You know, we should need to make a drink. I think maple syrup coffee in like brandy or whiskey or something. I think that would be a good drink.
We've lost him, Jim.
Oh, and also, by the way, we forgot the UK. The UK, Steve Medina, the only thing you can get is the beer sampler.
There you go.
I think that is by far the best choice. Yeah, the beer sampler. So all kidding aside.
I was going with the black and tan.
Black and tan is lovely, especially when it's cold too. But I'm telling you, the best value for the money is the best drinking value for the money in Epcot is the beer sampler in the UK.
Oh,
You get 6 5-ounce and 5-ounce glasses of different beers, and 5 ounces of one beer is almost exactly enough. It's like a little bit more than a mouthful, right? But that's exactly the way to do it. If every country had that, I'd never leave. I'd ask for some sort of alcoholic amnesty program in Epcot or something.
This has got all the makings of a new challenge. We'll call it Sip and Drop.
Sip and slosh.
Next email is from our good friends.
Sip and slosh.
I love it.
It's brilliant.
Slosh. Thank you.
Next email is from Mikey and Lauren of Orlando, Florida, who writes, just listened to episode 501 and brought me back to memories from childhood. I grew up in Queens and made the drive to Walt Disney World about 3 to 4 times annually. When I was a teen, I started bringing a tape recorder with me. I really wish I knew where those tapes were now. When my parents got the blues, we would drive to the Roosevelt Field Mall on Long Island to go to the Disney store. They felt next to home movies and driving all the way down south, that would be the next best thing. It was awesome meeting all of you at Mouse Fest. Happy holidays and best wishes for the new year.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think one of the things that we tend to take for granted is if any of us really get desperate to go to Walt Disney World, we'll get on the plane and go. And we're fortunate that we have the opportunity to do that a lot more than most people. And I think it's letters like that remind us that that's not always the case for everyone else.
Next email is from Martin, who writes, greetings from sunny South Africa. Hi, Matt, the Mikes, and Len, and if present, the fabulous ladies from Mouse Fan Travel. First things first, I'd like to announce that WW Today even has a growing fan base in your forgotten continent. I've been visiting Disney World since 1996, and every time I'm bound for Orlando, I get the same old question again from the folks over here. But haven't you just been there yet? over here, people just don't get the logic in flying literally to the other side of the world to go to a theme park. Anyway, here's my question. I'm leaving for Disney World in January, and we'll visit the world, and we'll visit what the world has to offer in early February. I almost cried like a little boy when I found out that certain attractions will be closed for renovation or maintenance during this time. I ended up rescheduling a cruise in order to at least do some of my favorites. For example, Mickey's PhilharMagic opening again on February 7th. These Disney scheduled closure dates. Do they stay true to them, or do they sometimes change the dates to fit their current progress?
So the dates vary by perhaps a day or two. So, for example, today we just got word that the Liberty Bell riverboat refurbishment in Liberty Square of the Magic Kingdom is going to happen going to start 2 days earlier and end a day sooner.
How often is that frigging thing?
I was going to say, didn't they just take care of that last year?
Yeah, they
Last
do it
year?
like the past 3 years. It's been down. I don't know how many times for rehab. What do they do? Like 3 people ride that thing a year, and it goes around in a circle. I don't get. Does anyone get why it always needs to be repaired?
It's a boat. It's always on water.
I just don't think they want to. I think they use that as a ruse. I think there's a conspiracy theory, man.
Well, I mean, so if you look at to answer the question, the dates generally vary by no more than a day or two.
Question.
That being said, yeah, I mean, there would seem to be, and I haven't crunched the numbers. There seem to be an awfully large number of rehabs and closures during mid-January to mid-February, more than one would think is typical for that time of year.
Generally, they do stick to the schedule that they have. I mean, when it's close from one day to another date, I mean, like Len said, you might get lucky and get a day early, but most of the time they're right on schedule.
Yeah, so that's a little odd.
Martin adds one quick question. I've never been to Orlando in January, February. Is it really that cold during that time, or is it just a little frisky, or is swimming completely out of the question?
I've been swimming in both January and February. The pools are heated to 80 degrees, Martin.
Yeah.
So it's getting out that's a problem. Getting in, not a problem. Getting out, yeah, getting out's a little tricky. So my advice is bring a couple of extra towels and a robe if you've got one.
Yeah, I mean, Len, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, sometimes it can be a little cold, sometimes it's a little more warm than usual. But generally speaking, even if regardless of the temperature, the pools are always going to be warm, so you'll be fine in the pool. You may just have to make a run back to your room when you're done rather than just lounge around.
So mid-January, I'm looking at the 15-day forecast out for the marathon, so the 10 to 15-day forecast out for the marathon. And it looks like the highs are going to be in the mid-60s and lows are going to be in the low 40s.
It's going to be chilly.
Which is, yeah, I mean, well, chilly, relatively speaking, it's going to be 24 tomorrow here in North Carolina. So
Touche.
it's all relative. But I think this week in Orlando it's mid 70s, right? For the high?
It's been this past week. It's been really warm. It's been
it's been fabulous. Yeah.
Next email's from Ken, who writes, no question, just wanted to say congratulations to Mike Scopa on the announcement that he's expecting his first grandchild. Hope the grandbaby is allowed to go to Walt Disney World as a little one.
Come back in 10 years and I'll tell you.
Yeah, before he's 18. Probably.
Next email's from John from Middleton, Wisconsin. Writes, hi gang, great show. We're starting to plan our next trip. One option we are considering is the week leading up to Labor Day 2009. We have two oddities. One, by law, our public schools cannot start before Labor Day. And two, Labor Day 2009 is September 7th, the latest date you can have Labor Day. Yep. We know you've mentioned that Labor Day is a pretty good time, and this year's crowd calendar shows 5 and 6 at that time. Can you think of any factors that might affect those numbers due to Labor Day being so late?
Yeah, I think like schools in the Southeast are generally going to be going back the third week of August. Like I know Hannah goes back on the 24th, I believe. So by then, most of the schools in the Southeast will be back in session. I think the week of Labor Day, absolutely fine.
Cool. Next email is from someone who didn't write their name. Don't forget to leave your name and where you're from in your emails. Who writes, listener since before electricity. Need topics on the Trip Reports episode 477, or last year, depending on when you read this. You guys did such a great job at choosing topics that hit a nerve, and this one really did. We, my wife and I, write a trip report for each of our trips. We are fortunate to live in the Atlanta area, close enough to allow us 2 short trips a year. We make notes at the end of each day during the trip. I type these notes up when we return, and our notes include any new attractions or experiences, people we meet, interesting people we see when people watching, and anything else of note. We always have something interesting about the physical trip down or back. On our next trip, my wife will read the trip reports from the past trips. This provides us with numerous chuckles and will help burn the time during the trip.
That's awesome.
I like the idea of doing something related to your previous trips on your trip down to Disney World. I think obviously you're excited about it, and it's a good outlet, to kind of remind yourself of things that you maybe forgot that you did last time, or even a trip before.
Passes the time too.
Yeah, absolutely. Next email is from Sean Naver. It's, hey gang, I'll keep this short and to the point since I've written a few times lately. Boy, with all these questions lately, it sure would be cool to have a face-to-face meeting one of these days. Hopefully I can make one of the Mouse Fest soon, and that can actually happen. Well, on with the questions. I think Len may be the best to answer this, but I'll leave it open to all of you guys. Is it possible on the dates that Disney gives you for free dining to book it, so you hit the free dining and are there for a few days of the Epcot Food and Wine Festival? We're going to book a trip to the world in 2009, and although we haven't come close to announcing the dates yet, well, I'm planning ahead. With the economy the way it is, I figure Disney will do it again regardless. So just going based on the 2008 dates, would it have been possible to do this? I think I heard Len say sometime that if the free dining was offered through the 28th of August, you just had to have the first day of your vacation start on that day. That way you could receive the dining your whole trip. Is that true?
I think it was Annette that said it, not me. But so let's see. Food and Wine is going to be when in 2009?
I'm not sure. Are the dates out yet for that?
No, it hasn't been out. When was it in 2008? It was October.
September.
Late September.
Yeah, it went to September like 22nd or so, something like that.
So the interesting thing about Sean's question is Disney's recently started sending out PIN codes for 40% off all of the slow times of the year, and that includes most of September, all of September, in fact, all of September through the 30th, I think.
Next question is from Dawn P. of Connecticut, who writes, "Hi, Matt, Mike S., Mike N., Len, and Annette. We love your show. Myself, my husband, my daughter who's 9, and my son who's 6 are going to Walt Disney World pretty soon. Considering the amount of time we're taking and the time of the year for October 2009, I'm not particularly concerned about a touring plan. I feel like we will have sufficient time to do what we want. What are your thoughts?"
In October 2009?
Yep.
As long as it's not around, Columbus Day, you probably don't need a touring plan as strict a touring plan as you do if you're going during summer or other peak seasons. The one thing, I think we tell people all the time is, even if you don't want to follow a touring plan, there's usually every day, and Scopa, you can back me up on this, there's usually one or two attractions that you want to see that it behooves you to get done first thing in the morning. Case in point is, if your kids want to ride Dumbo in the Magic Kingdom, do it first, right? So I understand people don't want to ride a touring plan and they don't want to be tied to a schedule, but trust me, your life will be easier by far if you ride Dumbo first thing in the morning. And Scopa, I think there are other attractions.
Well, the thing is, Len, if possible, I'd say maybe even 2 or 3. I think Peter Pan's Flight is also another one. It's just one of those uncanny attractions that just gets crazy by mid-morning. But Dumbo definitely is one, and Peter Pan's Flight. And Epcot, of course, you've got Soarin', and then maybe you need to make a decision, Mission Space, Test Track. In Epcot, Animal Kingdom, it's Everest, and pick one after that. In the studios, it's Mania and whatever's on Sunset Boulevard, I guess.
Yep.
Absolutely. Next email is from Jody from Ohio. Writes, "Hello, everyone. I really enjoy your show. My question is, my family and I will be going to Walt Disney World in January of 2009. I was wondering, how do you think of having just 2 Fantasmic shows per week at Hollywood Studios will affect show crowds, and how early should we show up to get seats?" I think it's going to be on days that doesn't have Fantasmic. I think after 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, I think the park's really going to empty out because I don't think a lot of people are going to, without Fantasmic there, they're not going to see much of a reason to stay. Wouldn't you think, Len?
Yeah. What are the days that they're going to have Fantasmic?
Right now, it's I think Monday and Thursday is what they have set up for January.
Monday's the traditional evening extra magic hour day for the studios, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna vary. I think for showing up for what time you show up, I would definitely give it, because it's gonna be so limited now. I mean, I would definitely say something more in the ballpark of 45 minutes or even more. I mean, it's January, so it's hard to gauge because generally January is a dead time of the year. But since Fantasmic's only 2 times a week, you may see an elevated crowd. That's one thing I'm going to be looking for.
I think people are actually good. Yeah. So we'll say the same thing too. You think people will actually go to the studios just to see Fantasmic?
Yeah, I think you got to treat it, Len, like you treat Spectrum Magic. People go there the Magic Kingdom just to see Spectrum Magic in the week. You know what I mean?
I don't think that effect is nearly as big as other people think it is.
What do you mean? In what way?
I don't think people the average tourist makes their decision to visit the Magic Kingdom based on whether Spectrum Magic is running or not.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I think what a lot of people do is they'll see the Fantasmics playing on, Thursday, let's say, and they'll make a special trip over there. They'll probably park hop, if anything. I think you'll see like that late evening rush, similar to like what happens with the Osborne Lights during the Christmas season. Next email is from Joe from Seattle, who writes, "Go Seahawks. I'm a new listener and just wanted to chime in with a comment and a quick question. First, on a recent episode, a listener was telling of his friend who was kicked out of the beach club pool, and you were all a little confused as to how he got caught. It's my understanding that for the particular pool, guests wear bracelets to identify themselves as yacht and beach club guests, and others are turned away due to its popularity and overcrowding issues. But my question is regarding breakfast options. I'd like to know your opinions on your top 3 choices, with one at least being a character meal and one a buffet. Forgive me if you've asked this already, as I'm catching up on past episodes. Scopa, what do you think?
Well,
Question. That's a great question, actually.
3 breakfasts. Wow.
One character, one buffet.
One character and one buffet, huh? Oh boy.
Well, mine came in pretty quickly, Mike. So I'll give you a second to think about it.
Well, Mickey's. What do you call that?
Chef Mickey's.
Chef Mickey's.
Yeah.
Chef Mickey's for breakfast. Is that what you're saying, Matt?
Yeah. That was one I was definitely going to pick. I think that's one of the great options for breakfast, assuming you can get an ADR for it.
Yeah, you probably can now. Yeah.
I'd go with Trail's End number 2, and I'd go with. This is tough.
See, I was going to pick Spoodles. I like their breakfast quite a bit.
Is it? It's neither a character breakfast nor a buffet, though, right?
Yeah, that's right. Just a standard breakfast.
Yeah, I mean it's like any sit-down restaurant. You just
right.
What about Ohana's?
It's also good. I've had that for breakfast. I'm not a huge fan of the family style ones because I always find that I don't eat everything on there.
Right.
I don't know. Because of that, there's more limited options, I feel, than any typical buffet. But the characters are nice and everything. I've eaten there. I didn't have a real problem with it by any means. So I would.
It's a character, yeah.
Anyone else have any their favorite places for breakfast they want to add?
It depends. If you're just trying to get in for a character meal, I think Cape May Cafe is relatively easy to get into. I know. Work with me on that.
Next email is from Mark from Hoffman Estates, Illinois. Right, hey podcast team, my wife, daughter 4, and son 2, and I are heading to the world staying at the Polynesian for 11 nights. We'll be on the deluxe dining plan, and our ADR center more on the monorail resorts and Magic Kingdom and Epcot. We're DVC members who had extra developer points, so we chose a monorail resort. Since Disney Vacation Club doesn't get allocated many rooms, our only choice when we booked was a Garden View. It seems to be our only choice. Any suggestions on a room request for us? I like being on a 2nd or 3rd floor and love balconies. Any glimpses of the castle possible? Len?
So from the Contemporary?
No, from the Polynesian.
So from the Polynesian. Yeah, your best. Okay.
They've got a Garden View room. Does the unofficial guide have any recommendations for?
Okay, so if you're interested in upper floor rooms, it's the 2nd and 3rd floors of Tokelau, rooms X901 to X913, and X939 to X948. They have like sideways views of the castle and the fireworks.
Oh, nice.
There's some first floor rooms, 1901 to 1913 and 1939 to 1948, that have those views, but there might be landscaping, like shrubs or trees or whatever, blocking the Magic Kingdom views. That would be those would be my recommendations for sort of taking advantage of the way that Disney does its room view characterization. But the other thing I would say is definitely check out Steve Seifert's site at tikiman2001.homestead.com, because Steve will tell you what specific room numbers exist in every building and the relative orientation of those buildings to the Magic Kingdom. So that'll definitely help too.
Cool. Good recommendation on Steve's site.
Yep.
Next email is from Jake Thompson, who writes, hello again, you all, including Annette. This is Jake Thompson. I hung out with you guys as you made the infamous Snack and Sip Around the World episode. That's your boy, Scopa.
Hi, Jake.
Jake was the one who was telling me not to drink the maple syrup. He was like, dude, don't do it. Seriously, don't do it.
Jake writes, anyway, I just wanted to write in with some comments. My dad and I don't have a car and haven't for over a year now. We live at a Home Sweet Home resort on 192 near Old Town. So the main source of transportation is the Lynx buses and a taxi when we get groceries. They really aren't so bad, except for when the 56, the bus that goes from the Ticket and Transportation Center to our place, is an hour late and is packed with too many people. They seriously have like 3 busloads of people on one bus before. That's when I decided I wouldn't be going to the parks that day. Also, the Home Sweet Home resort at which we live is right next to a helicopter tour place. So yes, there is consistently a helicopter either taking off or landing all day. However, once you're inside, you really can't hear it. So it's not that big of a deal. Even more good news about this place is they finally got the free Wi-Fi, even though it's only in the lobby. Anyway, I understand why you guys really don't like the links as a mode of transportation, but when it's all you got, it's not that bad. Plus, most of the buses are new and have really good air conditioning.
Oh, that's cool.
There you go. Thank you, Jake.
So I didn't know Jake was living in Orlando. Interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's time for one last email, and that means Mike Newell will pick our last email out of 3. And Mike, this is going to be the toughest choice you've had thus far.
Wow.
All right, so option number 1. Len kissed me.
That's it. Let's go.
Wait.
That one. Forget the other two.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Option number 2, have a cool Yule, Newell.
Ooh.
And option number 3, the economy and Axl Rose.
Wow.
Economy and
Oh, wow.
And Axl Rose. So you've got
Dying to know.
Len kissed me, have a cool Yule, Newell, and the economy and Axl Rose.
I'm sorry, but I'm dying to know who Len kissed.
Yeah, so am I, actually.
All right, well,
Well, it was Matt at the French Pavilion, Champagne. Where were you?
Really?
last email of the day is from Aziz Parker, who writes, sorry, Len didn't really kiss me. I just needed this question answered now.
And recount.
He writes, now for the pleasantries. Hello, Matt, Mike, Len, Annette, and whomever else might be on today. This is Aziz Parker emailing you from Columbus, Georgia. Sorry, Len and Annette. Had to leave North Carolina for more money. Hope you understand.
It happens.
You've answered 2 of my questions previously, so let's go for the trifecta. I need this answered yesterday. Here's the deal. I'm taking my son for a surprise birthday trip January 16th through the 19th. Check this out. I plan to let him stay up late the night of the 15th once he goes to sleep, put him in the car, and drive to Orlando. It's only 6 hours from where I am. He'll probably stay asleep since he would have awakened at 6 a.m., gone to school, and gone to sleep at midnight. And when he awakes, bam, we're in Orlando. How cool is that? Go to sleep at home and wake up in Orlando. I know it'll be busier this weekend than other weekends in January, but his birthday is the 16th, and he has the days out of school for the Martin Luther King holiday. I'm trying to do this as cheap as possible. I need to know if any of you have done a timeshare presentation in Orlando before. This is what I would like to do. I have a rate of $199 for 3 nights and 2 free tickets. I want to do the presentation first thing Friday morning, get the tickets, and then take them to the park and apply them towards the cost of an annual pass. I would like to do the same with the free admission that my son will receive for his birthday. If I can pull this off, it'll save me more than $200 for the passes. My question is, can I do that? And if not, what would you suggest?
Depending on the tickets that you get, I think you can actually do it. It's interesting that one of the upsides for tourists of the poor economy is that timeshare sales have just fallen through the floor in Orlando. So people are desperate to do whatever they can to get people to come stay at those timeshares. So $199 rates are pretty common. I actually got a call from Hilton over the weekend, this past weekend, and they were willing to give me $199 for a week at the Hilton in downtown Disney, or $349 for a 2-bedroom villa for a week in Orlando. Wow. Yeah, I mean the rates are just incredible. But so what timeshare is she staying at?
Aziz didn't say.
Aziz, sorry, Aziz.
Yeah, he didn't say what timeshare he's staying at.
Oh, okay. So $199 sounds like a Marriott deal.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, it sounds like a great deal, and it always does, but, I mean, those things are high-pressure sales situations. I would really be wary of it. I know you want to save some money, Aziz. Another option for you, don't forget, I think his trip qualifies for that $200 thing that Disney's offering where you stay on property, and they'll give you, buy 4. Well, he's not staying for 7 days, so never mind. That's out of the question. I forgot about that problem. But listen to, what was it, yesterday's episode or Monday's episode rather, with Jen and the Super 8 that she stayed at sounded like it was a great deal. It was cheap.
Super 8 was actually, less than $50 a night.
Yeah, and the other thing you could do, Aziz, Priceline.com, baby. I love it. Me and Newell use it all the time for getting cheap hotels off property. Definitely check that out. I think that you can get a really good deal, and you don't have to bother with the stupid high pressure sales pitch that you're going to be getting over there. I mean,
they're not going to let you leave very easily after their presentation.
Yeah, exactly, Mike. I mean, you could be there for many hours. It's not going to be like, well, this is very nice, but I'm not interested. I mean, to me, it would just I wouldn't do it, but everyone has their price, I guess. Very well. Well, that's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. And don't forget that this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by MEI and Mousefan Travel, the official travel agency of WDW Today. And if you're planning a trip to Walt Disney World and don't want to have to deal with a high-pressure sales pitch, want to stay on property, want to get a great deal on your room, get the whole package taken care for you with no problems, and maybe even a kiss from Len. Well, maybe not the kiss, but everything else I said. Why not give the good people at MEI and Mousefan Travel a try? Visit them online at www.mousefantravel.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.